Hello boys, we're going to cover the Assassin tier list today. So this is another one I'll be honest, I haven't spent too much priority on compared to some of the other builds, well, some of the other characters, but I still have some good stuff here that is worth listing, and you boys can see and compare and let me know what I don't know and, you know, how stupid I am and whatnot. But yeah, let's get into it, eh boys? First one we could start with is a Venom Whirlwind Assassin. This thing I would comfortably put in S tier. You can utilize Death Sentry if you'd like to, but mainly you've got all your poison damage coming from Venom. That's going to be stacked from Charms if you have those, but also Shadow Disciplines to amp up the Venom skill itself. So you've got your main hand of Plague, you've got lower res that's going to proc to amp up poison, but also minus poison res. That's complemented by offhand Chaos Rune Word to give you the whirlwind. So, with Venom, it's going to compress your poison duration down to 0.4, so we want to attack as much as possible. So, with Whirlwind, we're going to be doing a lot of hits per second. We also have Blade Shield on, so we're going to have procs of that when we're spinning through. And we also have Blade Sentinel and Blade Fury we can access. Typically, I don't use Blade Fury with this when testing. I found that Blade Sentinel was the best, so you cast a few Blade Sentinels and occasionally when you're in the mob, and then a couple of sentries, and then you whirlwind through and you do the rest. It's pretty nice. I definitely recommend giving this a whirl. No pun intended there, jeez. That's cringe, we'll move on. What else do I have? I have a Naja's set trapsin. So, the Naja set is pretty good. I'd want to shout out GG, Gauner Gaming. He actually covered this in the build video before I even got to testing mine properly. But it's pretty much a similar idea of what he covered. The Naja set is very nice as a budget set to access good magic find and good fire skills for a kind of cheap hell farming and stony tomb farming assassin. It's pretty nice, but it's not super high end. That's why I didn't end up covering it. It's pretty decent though. There's just a lot of better options rather than cutting out both weapon slots for claws and putting a little staff, and also, cutting out the chest for things. But, the Naja staff still has teleport charges, so it's not like you're losing that access. It's still a good option. I'd put it at a strong B tier, maybe an A tier. It's not bad. We'll put it at B tier for now. Another build I have been testing is the Dragon Tail Assassin. This is an interesting one. Depending on what way you look at it, it is either a meme build or it's a very strong meta build. Now, Dragon Tail, if you amp up like a whole bunch of strength, like we're talking max investment, 95% of your character is strength with excess dexterity, minimal like vitality, super glass cannon, you can do an obscene amount of Dragon Tail damage. The explosion is well over 100k. It even shows you on the sheet DPS. It's silly. It is super silly. I'd put it in more of a meme build in the route that I was testing it. But it is pretty good. It does depend quite heavily if you're using mosaics or not. That'll determine the function of it and how consistent it's going to be. I would put it in an A tier for now, but I'm undecided what type of variant I want to showcase out in the build first. Yeah, maybe you boys have further thoughts on that, but as of right now, what I have tested, we'll settle for A tier, and we'll decide from there, but it can be a solid meme build as well. Let's move on. Assassin Thundermaul. This thing is an absolute classic. It's very nostalgic for me, personally. Me and one of the bros, we made this thing with a Passion Thunderball. It's just a silly idea, right? Passion, it's a great rune word. You boys know I love it. You're sick of seeing it. So am I. I'm never sick of seeing it. I take that back. But making it in a Thundermaul is just hilarious to me. Because it's such a massive, obscene, elite base. It needs so much strength investment. But putting it on your, skinny little assassin holding a big-ass Thundermaul was so appealing to my monkey brain. And I just wanted to make it work, and so I did. I'd be keen to remaster this at some point to improve it a little bit, but functionally, it's like your Dragonflight in, you would Zeal enemies and have sentries around and deal a good chunk of physical damage, paired with G-Face and then Fortitude on the chest. It's pretty cool. I would put that above the Naja's trapsin, to be honest. It's still functional, it's fun, it's just slow and clunky. Let's move on. Rift Assassin. This is something I haven't made a build video on. I would say this is a very common and well-known off-meta assassin build. Probably one of the very early off-meta builds that was making waves before, you know, my channel and any other, you know, common Diablo 2 channels. It's a really cool option to shake up your kicks in on your assassin. It's great. You can still complement it with Death Sentry, obviously, just like you can with Corpse Explosion on other Necro builds. It's awesome the amount of cold damage you can get from this, based on how fast you can actually kick. It's a really nice option, and guaranteed it's got a slot locked in for S tier. Self-Willed Infinity Trapsin. I've been testing this recently, and it is absolutely S tier. Lightning Sentry Trapsin, with Death Sentry and stuff is inherently S tier anyway because it's close to a meta build, but this stuff is pretty damn strong if you're self-wielding it. So there's a few different options for Mercenary and a few other things I need to fine-tune before I want to make a build video, because the stuff that can perform better overall, I want to make sure that I'm really, you know, tidying stuff up before I do, so it has a good comparison to meta, you know. But other meme builds, I don't really tend to do that. But it's very nice. It's a very nice build. Self-wielding Infinity is functional. I'm using the Crushing Blow here and on an elite base to really use using, like, you know, kicking to really finish off single target more than I've seen on some other builds. So I guess it's a somewhat of a hybrid, but you guys will see that whenever I get around to finishing that. Poison Zeal Assassin. This was the first poison variant I made before I remade the whirlwind Venom Assassin. This thing I had with poison small charms, with a whole sack inventory full of 100 poison damage small charms. That is actually totaling less damage than if you went for Shadow Discipline's Grand Charms, which I didn't realize until after, but it's whatever. It still works. I could still build it very similar to the Whirlwind Venom Assassin. I would say it's closer in A tier. It still functions reasonably well, to be honest. And with that poison damage, you can apply it reasonably well with Zeal, and you don't have to use just, you know, kicking. But it's up to you what you want to use. I can remake this and probably utilize Blade Sentinel and maybe Blade Fury on occasion, because that is something that has been since reworked before I made that, and also you've got Sunder Charms and Plague, so maybe I could, you know, change up the Mercenary as well. It is what it is. Down here, Fire Trapsin. I made this build video before the patch came out. I thought about remaking it and waiting a week, but I was like, nah, bugger it, I'll just set it out anyway. This thing is absolutely S tier. Since I tested it after, it is wild. It is really wild. The amount of plus skills that you can get on your gear, on the claws in particular, like +5 on each, it's insane. As you can see on the little thumbnail there, I forgot the name of the skill. Not the triangle, it was the Wake of Inferno, the other one, the bloody, that shoots a, like, Inferno beam. You could stack those out and destroy bosses with single target. It is beautiful. I wish I would see more of it in you know, meta, but it's unfortunately very overshadowed by Lightning Sentry and obviously stuff like, you know, the Trapsin, and the Self-Willed Infinity Trapsin would do so as well. They're still very good options. I'd probably put this one a little bit above the others. Fire Trapsin, I would put above the Rift Assassin and also above the Venom. Moving on. Zeal with Dull Dreams. So very similar to the Poison one. I would probably rank these the same. Usually, like, lightning damage has, you know, a lot more higher damage potential than poison, but in this case, the poison damage is going to be amped quite significantly by Venom, and we don't have anything to amp up the lightning damage of Dual Dream. There's other lightning damage options we can add to bolster our damage in total, but nothing to really amp up the single target damage. So you're really stuck with Zeal, Dual Dreams, Shockweb underneath, and then with, you know, applying sentries around, you know, the mobs as well. It's decent, it works, it's very expensive. I wish we could amp it up more than we can, but I'll tuck it in A tier and it's good enough for that. Now, the last two we have, I have a Dream Assassin. This is with blades. This is with using all the blades and Dual Dreams, and I think I had Stormlash in this video, Ethereal as well. This thing is very, very strong. I would be inclined to put this at low S tier. It is very expensive to get all the pieces for it, but at the rate that we can apply the elemental damage with an assassin is better than people realize. The same stuff that I mentioned with the Poison Zeal and the Whirlwind Venom Assassin, when we're applying elemental damage, we can dish it out through all of these sources. We have our basic attack, whatever that might be. There's Blade Fury if we shoot that as our basic attack. Whirlwind in the case where I'm using Whirlwind. There's Zeal in the case where you're using Zeal. You have Blade Shield when you hop in, and you also have Blade Sentinel that casts it as well. So you have all of those to apply your lightning damage, and there's no duration option that we need to worry about, unlike, you know, the Whirlwind Venom Assassin or Zeal. It's really good. I found myself using Blade Fury more with the Dream Assassin because that was really nice to use on an Ethereal Stormlash with a Burr Rune. Ridiculously expensive, but it does work extremely well. So Blade Sentinel Fury and all of those. Last one we have down here is something I've kind of shelved for the time being, but I have tested it quite a bit. It is, in essence, it's a very similar to the Dream Assassin here, except we're using fire aspect and fire rune words. So we're using Dual Dragons. I'm messing about using like an Ethereal Hands of Justice and a few other options. I've been playing with Phoenix as well. It's very strong. I would say it's close to an A tier. You know, we're using Infinity as well, so we're more encouraged to use a little bit of some fire traps here or there, but nothing really crazy. I feel like when using the Dream Assassin, also the Zeal Dual Dream, the Shockwebs was nice to apply that residual damage while we're dealing more physical damage when we're getting in there, but there's not as much to do with the Fire Blades. And I feel like it's okay. I'd put it at a reasonable A tier. It's alright. You know, there's more we could probably do with it, but that really finishes off the Assassin builds for now. There's not really too much I have else going on with this. If some of these your boys really want to see that sound really cool, then let me know, and you know, I can try and bump that up my priority list of things to do. But yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you boys enjoying that one, and I'll see you around.